Hey everybody, this is Bo back in the lounge. Want to do a shout out to our 1.5 million listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. And right now we're going to go down to the Bulldogs. That's right, Drake University. Talk to head football coach Coach Creighton. Sir, how you doing?
I'm great. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Hey, it's the second year. You just had a nice press conference about that.
Yeah, we did. We had our media day and press conference, and got some good coverage here in Des Moines and in the great state of Iowa. And that always just means that the season's right around the corner, so we're pretty fired up.
You know, Coach, I think the beginning of football season is probably the most chaotic time because not only are you doing 2-a-days and 3-a-days, but you've got freshmen who have no clue on what's going on.
You got that right. I mean, gosh, it was first day of class here yesterday. They go from football 24/7 for 2 weeks, just totally overwhelmed, to classes starting and football, and 900 other freshmen coming in from, on campus. And so it's I think I'm about 40% counselor and 60% coach at this time of year.
Yeah. Well, Coach, the other thing that is good about your program, I read about this online, obviously from your website, but other publications, you're returning a very senior class. You've got a lot of people that stayed on campus and trained. You're looking pretty good right now this season.
Yeah, I mean, we feel really good. Last year was a definite transition year for us. To be honest with you, I probably didn't get the entire team to just wholeheartedly buy into the direction we were headed and how we were going to do things. And the way that I work, I mean, if there's one guy out of the 100 that's not all in, something's wrong. And I just think that, to win a championship, to be your best, you've got to be special. And I think it's impossible to be special if not everybody is completely on board. And so from January on, it's really felt so much better in terms of the chemistry and the buy-in. And so I know at this point, I think that we're going to be better on the field. Personnel's not a whole lot different, but just the chemistry. I think we're having more fun, and we're on the same page. Led by, like you mentioned, we have 11 fifth-year seniors. And, those guys coming back for a fifth year, they want it so badly, and they've done a great job leading.
Well, that just says so much about the character of those athletes. We're hearing from a lot of coaches right now that a lot of kids aren't willing to take a redshirt year to develop their skills. They're willing to just move on or just all quit altogether. And to have that many redshirt seniors come up and maintaining your program, and it says a lot about them. It really does, Coach.
There's no doubt. I mean, I just they're the kind of guys that you respect, no matter what they decide, and you just, there's just a little lump in your throat when you know the commitment and the sacrifice that they're making, to do that for a fifth year, and to have 11, 23-year-olds out there who are going through it for a fifth time, it makes a significant difference.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when those new faces show up, and some of them may be a little cocky because they were the all-stars on their team or they were a stud in their high school squad, because everybody knows that, there's going to be a freshman or maybe a whole bunch that think they are, the big thing this year, and when they show up and the practice starts hitting, those freshmen probably have those looks, like the deer in the headlight look going on really hard.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, the freshmen get humbled naturally, I think, all over the country. In our program, it's our guys, definitely don't humiliate them, but they're humbled, just like I said, naturally, because, those 23-year-olds were just as good as them when they were 18, but now they've got 4 and 5 years of experience.
And speed.
I'll tell you, too, that our fifth-year seniors, maybe the most impressive thing about them is the way that they do look after and help the freshmen. I think the deer in the headlights look that some of our freshmen have, to be honest with you, is in disbelief. The look they have is disbelief that the guys who they're competing with are the ones that are helping them the most. And we always want that to be a hallmark of our program. And I think that's one of those things I was talking about earlier about being special. When you've got that going on, you've got a chance.
Yeah, I think football is one of the few programs where the mandate of being a team is so heavily waived. In soccer, you could have one or two guys carry the squad. In baseball, you could have a juggernaut pitcher and catcher. You could win it. And then you've got wrestling where it's individuals. But in football, you really got to have almost 35 guys committed to the team, because at any point in time, someone's going to have to come off the bench and contribute. And for lifelong skills, especially in a program like yours, that means a lot when you see those guys show up.
No, there's no doubt. It's so well documented that there's no quarterback in the history of football who could have done a thing without an offensive line. It's just, and the guys know that, and putting the team in front of yourself and realizing that you're not the answer. That's always still a hard and humbling lesson, but that's one of the great things about football, is it literally takes everybody.
Yeah, and the community that you're part of is that you've been doing a lot of stuff off-site, working with a lot of different organizations and groups and alumni. It's kind of nice to have a person like you doing all that, because you embrace it, you look good doing it, and I'm sure the fans enjoy shaking your hand and asking you questions about what's going to happen this year.
And no doubt. I don't think they enjoy shaking my hand and listening to me, but, there's something that's almost magical about wearing a jersey. And, when your guys realize that they only get that opportunity for 4 or 5 years, and then can embrace that and take full advantage of it, it really is. It's almost magical, and I think our guys do a great job of recognizing that it's not something that lasts forever, but when they've got that opportunity to wear the jersey and go to talk to kids and visit hospitals and whatnot, they can really make a significant impact in people's lives.
When we talk about athletics, a lot of times the first thing we think of is an idiot or a team that does it the wrong way, and there's plenty of excuses out there. But however, when one person screws up in a football program, it seems like the whole community takes a hit, because the media is not shy about grabbing hold of something and hanging on to it for 6 to 7 months to make sure everybody remembers it. But, you've been in coaching a long time. There are so many great programs doing what is right in the sport. It's got to hurt you as a coach when you look across and someone's doing it wrong and gets caught, and, everybody gets burned.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you that we don't claim to be perfect. We're an unfinished product, and part of working with 18 to 23-year-olds is that it's still education, even though it's athletics, and guys make mistakes and need to learn from it. I mean, that's part of it, and I think sometimes we're expected to be perfect, and I understand that expectation, but the reality of it is that 18 to 23-year-olds aren't, and it's all part of the maturation process. But we're far from perfect. I'm far from perfect, but we do have a very high standard. We want to do things right, and we want to be worthy of the pedestal that our society puts college athletes on.
Yeah.
So we strive to do the best that we can in that area.
Absolutely. With Grandview University fast approaching, and it's coming, not by months, but now by, I guess, a few hours if you really break it down. How's your team looking, and how's your quarterback set?
Yeah, well, like I said, chemistry-wise, I think we're just we're farther along than we were last year. I just think there's some natural reasons for that, and I think that's going to translate into into more cohesive effort out on the field. And we've got a mix right now. We're not too deep with upperclassmen. We're not too deep with those fifth-year seniors and seniors chomping at the bit right behind them, and juniors. We've got a mix of that upperclassmen leadership, and then some talented young guys. And some of our young guys have only been with us for a couple weeks, and they're going to be asked to be in that 2 and 3 deep rotation. So the maturation of those guys is obviously in an 11-week season gonna tell a story for sure. And going to this first game, we're playing against a coach that is very, very well respected by our program and by anybody in the state of Iowa, and did a great job last year in his first year. And it's going to be exciting because it's one of the first, I think it's the first Des Moines area college football game with 2 teams from the Des Moines area in like decades. So, we're excited about getting it started. There's no doubt.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, thanks for taking so much time with us. We're going to ask if we can give you a call another month after the game's played.
Oh, I love it. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Coach Creighton from Drake University, go Bulldogs. He's got a great program. He's got a reputation as one of the best coaches in D3, and we're watching him carve his niche out at Drake. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks so much.
We're welcome. We're off the air.